Welcome to the Explainer. What if you could give your AI a superpower? Today, we're going to look at a tool that does just that. It plugs your AI directly into the live pulse of the internet, giving it a direct line to what's happening right now.
So let's be real, every single one of us who uses AI has run into this problem. These models are incredibly powerful, right? But they all have a knowledge cutoff date. And that means their brilliant answers are often, stuck in the past. They're completely missing out on the trends and the conversations that are happening today.
But what if you could change that? Imagine plugging your AI directly into the live wire of the internet. What if it could learn from the absolute latest discussions happening on places like X and Reddit? Just from the past 30 days.
Yeah, this really gets to the core of the issue. We can basically call it the AI's blind spot.
See, the most important thing to get here is that these models are fundamentally disconnected from the present. And I mean, things are moving so fast, especially in the world of AI, that what was true last month, it might be totally obsolete today. On their own, there's just no way for them to keep up.
Okay, so to solve this exact problem, a new tool called Last 30 Days has popped up. And its creator, I love this. He describes it as a kung fu upgrade for your AI.
So let's break down what this thing actually is. Last 30 Days is basically a skill for Claude Code, which is an AI assistant for coding. But you can think of it as a real-time research engine. It goes out, it scans X and Reddit for the absolute freshest information, and then it injects that context directly into your prompts. And just like that, they become instantly more relevant.
And that kung fu analogy, it just perfectly captures the feeling, right? The whole goal here is to instantly download expertise on any topic, literally like in the Matrix. So instead of you spending hours trying to catch up on what's new, you can just equip your AI with up-to-the-minute knowledge in seconds.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but how does this actually work in practice? Let's look at a super practical example, trying to write a cold email that, actually gets opened and read.
So first up, the tool was asked to find the absolute best cold email frameworks being talked about online right now. A normal AI, it would probably pull something from an old marketing textbook from 10 years ago. But this tool, it found these really timely modern strategies like the 3Ps framework and this intention-based data trigger framework. These are the things people are actually using and talking about today.
And here's where it gets really cool. Check out the result. On the left, you've got that generic, forgettable email we all get and immediately delete. But on the right, that's the one the AI generated after learning those new frameworks. And get this, the prompt was tiny. It was just, I once made a smart oven. That's it. And from that, the AI created this really compelling hook about an unexpected founder journey. It just instantly breaks through all the noise.
All right, so that shows the tool's power for one specific task. But can we scale this up? Like a lot? Let's see if it can generate an entire software plan to compete with a brand new open source tool.
The process here was actually pretty simple, but incredibly powerful. Okay, so step 1. Use Last 30 Days to research a new tool called Claude, something that standard AIs have never even heard of. Step 2, take all that fresh research and feed it into a specialized AI planning tool. And then, step 3, just tell it to generate a full-blown technical blueprint for a commercial, enterprise-ready version.
And the result was, honestly, a shockingly detailed plan. The AI correctly pinpointed these critical gaps that an enterprise would need, things the open source version was missing. We're talking stuff like multi-tenancy, so different customers can use it securely, role-based access control or RBAC for security permissions, and detailed audit logs. But it didn't just find the problems, it actually proposed specific technical solutions for every single one.
Okay, so at this point you're probably wondering, how does this magic trick even work? Well, it's actually a really clever combination of a few existing services. Basically, it pulls together 3 key things. First, you need a Claude Code account to actually run the skill. Second, an OpenAI API key, which gives it access to Reddit's data. And third, you need an official API key from X, formerly Twitter. Last 30 Days is just the piece of software that brings all 3 of those together and makes them work in concert.
Now, I know this might all be sounding incredibly technical, but for me, the most inspiring part of this entire story is who actually built it.
The creator of this powerful tool, a guy named Matt Van Horn, he's not a professional software engineer. In fact, he says he built the entire thing without ever looking at the code. He just used AI to guide him through the whole process, to fix errors, to write the scripts, everything.
And this is the real takeaway here. This completely reframes who gets to build advanced AI tools. It's not just for engineers anymore.
This is an accessible superpower for founders, for creators, for builders of all backgrounds. It really proves that the barrier to creating valuable software is lower than it has ever been. So let's just quickly wrap this all up. We started with the biggest weakness of AI today, its blind spot to the present. Then we saw exactly how Last 30 Days fixes that by tapping into live conversations on X and Reddit. We saw proof of its power, from something as small as a single email to as big as an entire business plan. And maybe most importantly, we learned that this kind of superpower, it's now accessible to pretty much anyone.
And that really leaves us with one final big question. If someone who's not a coder can build a tool that gives AI a sense of the present, what new superpower are you going to build?